Your boy gonna get right into this nerd bait discussion about the Nintendo Direct. But first things first, your boy wants to talk about a game that I just finished beating. Yes, that game is Forspoken. Now, if you guys don't remember, your boy was super excited for Forspoken. I was so happy for it to come out. I was anticipating this game since it first been announced, right? So pull up my chair and get comfortable because we talking here. We talking here, big things, podcast thing, But your boy was excited for this game to come out. Uh, really excited. I actually enjoyed the game for what it had to offer. I enjoyed the story as best as I could, which was like very mid. But the best aspect of this game was the exploration, the parkour, the magical elements in the game, the spells, the combat. It was amazing when used. Now, that's not enough to really keep you held on to the game. And as good as much as I enjoy playing the game, I have to be real with you guys and say that I don't think it was worth me spending the 70 or 80 on it or whatever the hell I spent on it. I don't even remember at this point. I think it was 70. But the game was it was alright. It was just at the very beginning, the prologue was very long, like damn near 2 hours long. It's very slow pacing, and then it's like once you get to like the second Tanta, everything just sped up from there, and you were done with the game. So basically speaking, like hours term, people say 6 to 7 hours. Honestly, I would say, bro, off rip, it could be done in 4 5 hours. Honestly, like just keeping it real. Um, so when I started off the game, you start off in New York, and once you start off in New York, it's really like no point of even worrying about that aspect of the game because the only other time you ever hear anything about New York is like when the NPCs in the game, the cuff that you have on your arm, he would constantly keep asking why you want to go back to New York, and she'll say New York. And it's because that's home and this place is crazy. That's literally what they say every single time. I remember it off rip because I heard it so much. And I actually tried to play this game for everything it has to offer. So I heard a lot of dialogue get repeated over and over and freaking over. So I got to a point to where I got real annoyed with the game and I grew real irritated with the voice acting and stuff like that because a lot of dialogue was just the same. Even after like spoiler alert, once you beat the game, you realize that your cuff was like the main whatever, the main bad guy, the antagonist of the game, really. And so even like after beating him and recapturing him and having him on your arm and shit, he kind of goes back to just reusing the same dialogue. It only changes in a little way when she talks shit, saying, "I gotta fix all the shit that you caused." So I was more invested about trying to learn about the break and where it came from, everything like that. And I was like, even though I feel like the story's kind of fucked up, I still want to understand where the break came from, how it happened, everything like that. And they still kind of poorly delivered how the break came about in this world, just keeping it being. So starting out back at the story, the beginning of the game, you go to court, you go to your apartment. Well, you ran into your gang, the gang whoop your ass because you lost the car. Now you're running from them, you hide in your apartment, they find you, they burn that bitch down to the ground. You had money saved up to finally go leave and live a new life with your cat. And then your apartment burns with the money. You had gave your cat to the judge. You was basically homeless, ready to commit suicide. Then you realized that it was some type of little magic bug that brought you to the bracelet. You touch the bracelet, and you get transported into the world of Anthea or Athia. So you get to Athia, and then like you and this bracelet try to figure stuff out. You basically going through the motion. You have to fight dragon. You have to fight in the break. You fuck around, finally get to like the Sipel. The Sipel is like where all these humans are, like the last of the humans in the realm, and it's just a lot. So it was very slow pacing. So one thing I can say about the story mode, it was trash. I'm just keeping it real. It was so rushed because like when you go and fight the first Tanta shows up and start killing innocent people, and she killed this little girl that you was like real connected to. Now I could feel the connection between the main character, like having feelings for this little girl who had no family because she as well didn't have no family growing up. But the little girl died, and it kind of felt like, I kind of brushed it off. It's not like how in God of War where Brock died and you just felt that shit. Like you knew it had impact everybody. Even though these are all computerized characters, we all knew that shit had held weight. And Forspoken, when the little girl died, I can't remember her damn name. She died, and I kind of was just like, okay. So you go get revenge on the Tanta, right? I fight the fire Tanta, killed her so easily. And once I killed her, you get her powers. Now that's when the game really starts to pick up. Once you pick up her powers, because it actually comes with new ways of movement, momentum, action, and I actually like using hers over the base spells that you start with, which was phase magic, which kind of was like earth type magic, and that shit kind of sucked. I'm just keeping it a being because it was only good against like flying enemies, but like ground based enemies, it was kind of like just pop, 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 kind of boring. But once you get Scylla's, Tontacilla's magic, it kind of picks up the pace. So that's around the time when the game really started like shifting momentum, right? Then you go back to Sippa, you can do little detours and stuff like that. Detours are supposed to be like side missions, but really you're just following characters around the place from place and they tell you about the place. Then you follow cats around to find these little wooden things that you could go and trade in for whatever little bullshits. It was all pointless in my opinion. There's really no side missions to this game. The only thing that you really have in this game to basically consider side missions, which is why I have so much time invested in the game, was the point of interest where you go around basically clearing that certain area of the break and collecting like the fingernails, the cloaks, the necklaces, just basically getting more mana, upgrading your, boosting your character's level up. And I honestly felt like boosting my character level didn't really do nothing for me because everything came from the upgrades to your gear. So yeah, at one point I got so tired of going to like each area. So if you go to certain areas, it'll show you what you all have to do in that area. I would go to an area and clear them out in like 10 minutes tops, right? So I go collect the tons of cats. You just go pet them, and now you got this little kitty cat that's your friend. You gain experience from it. Go to like a house and collect a certain chest or note. You gain experience from that. So it was like one of them things where I was doing that so much, I got really mind fucked bored with the game, and I said, "Dude, this is boring." So I went on with the story mode, and when I went with the story mode, I was going to the second Tanta, right? So the second Tanta was it was a pretty cool battle. It was just out of there, but she was just as easy as the first one. And after beating her, you ended up fighting the third one without even like, I didn't choose to go and fight the third one. I literally got thrown into there. So I went for the water tanta. I don't even know her name. But I don't know if there was a way like you could just pick and choose which one you wanted to go to, because it would tell me to go over here, but I was able to go into this other area where I could have dived into the corruption and everything. But I think the story would have made me still go to her anyway. But after fighting her, you fight the third Tanta, which was like her powers like illusions and stuff, right? But when you pick up her magic, it's more about lightning and stuff like that. So her ability was pretty cool, but I felt like with the enemies in the game, I felt like the enemies in the game are so weak, like trash. Like you had that one moment where you come across like this one fire demon, big as hell. He is so aggressive. That's it. Everybody else was so fairly easy, dude. And even like with it being on the hard difficulty, it was still fairly easy. And like the enemies, it's like they just didn't know how to use their own competitive skills to fight. Break zombies are like the worst to me. Like they don't do shit but like follow you around and try to bite you. That's it. They was trash. Even the little harpy flying around when they was trash, because it's like they just saw you and took time to attack. And so fighting the Tantas was really easy for me. And so after fighting the third Tanta again, well, let me talk about her castle. So you go through her castle where she create these lanterns. They create illusions of enemies, right? So I would like for this game, since its biggest aspect was the combat, was to throw hordes of break zombies at me, like also World War Z type stuff, or to just really like grind me up with certain enemies. Now sometimes some enemies will get the best of you, like the ogre dudes, like the mutated ones, the real big ones. You could tell what type of enemies they are based on their color. So if they was like white with gold, they were more advanced than the regular ones, which would be like browning, like greenish looking. Then the mutated ones would be a bit bigger, white and red, with an aura of red around them. But going through her castle, you just destroy the lanterns. She put you like in this mind fuck world of New York with your mom, and then you discovered that your mom is really one of the Tantas, and you was originally from that world, and your mom wanted to protect you from the break and her mind of corruption, and that the bracelet was actually a demon who came to the world in their world of Athia during the war, and that's how he brought the break about. And then he got transported into the world when your mom transported you away. And basically, your mom went to New York. She had teleportation powers. She went through a portal to New York, found the world, thought it was so beautiful, and wanted Athia to go through the same thing. She met a dude named Al in New York, fucked him, didn't know him, but she fucked him, and that's how she conceived you. So once you get towards the end of the game, you realize your mom is a dragon that was fucking you up at the beginning of the game. Then you realize that everybody who says demon was talking about you was talking about your bracelet. So that was kind of like a plot twist that I enjoyed in the game. But other than that, actually like fighting your bracelet, who you've been with the whole game and stuff, I just started to realize that if I didn't go do all these point of interest and just really was just going straight to these missions, I would have beat the game off rip. Like I would have beat the game 4, 5, 6 hours in, and that's with the 2 hour long prologue before you was even able to actually like go out into the free world and explore and stuff. I actually upgraded so much of the magical spells. I think I unlocked almost every single magical spell out there, and I think I upgraded at least 50% of the spells, which you go to a book shelf and like the little resting areas or so, or the towers, and you can just pick certain challenges to do, and then it will upgrade your stuff. So yeah, by the time I decided to start doing a lot of points of interest, I just went on, did that, and I beat the game. And I was like, I was hyped when I first got the game, but after beating the game, I was highly disappointed, bro. And with the cliffhanger that was left on after you beat the game, it was like basically all the other realms still have break in it. We got to go clean it up. I said, okay, potential sequel. Yes, give us a sequel. Please give us a sequel, because this is the time for them to make up where they fucked up at, right? It's kind of like Cyberpunk, but it's not that type of game where it don't matter what you go back to tweak as far as performance issues that people have with the graphics and everything like that, which is another thing I'm about to talk about. You have to go back and do all kind of shit. Add story modes, add more improved NPCs. Just it's all kind of stuff that needs to be done to that game. So, with that being said, Forspoken on my radar, I'm sorry I have to do this, but I'm gonna have to give it a 5 out of 10. Just because for me the main thing was the parkour, which I enjoy the parkour. I enjoy exploring the big open world. It's just I wish the open world had more enemies and more stuff to do in it. Like, bro, if you really think about it, like on a CD Project Red level or Bethesda, we would have had so many freaking side missions and just so much stuff to do in the game. The world is so big for it to feel so fucking empty. It could have been all kinds of stuff going on. We could have had all kinds of missions going on in this game, all kind of side missions and stuff like that. All that crap, bro. It could have been. It could have been a. Excuse me. It just could have been a lot that could have been done in that game. So, and just think about it, if you ever played The Witcher, you would know what I'm talking about. Like as far as like side missions and quests and treasure hunts and stuff like that. Like that right there would definitely been a big thing in this game. But the world was very empty. It just had like monopools left around. Even like the little ladybirds, when you go through them and you fight like the little three waves of enemies, then you get to the big boss, and the big bosses is just as easy as the regular little fucking minions. You defeat it. I was like, none of those bosses ever gave me a run for my money. And those were the first bosses I came across that were big as hell. Then when I go in the open world and I see these big ass bosses, and they're so easy to fight. So easy to fight. So yeah, a 5 for Forspoken, even with the graphics. I thought would have been on 4K race tracing mode, whatever, that it was gonna look good, but I realized that having it on the frame rate mode was better. Everything was more sharp and crispy and gave me the look that I was looking for. It's just I hate how it looked. As far as like the world was kind of always looking like the graphics was definitely dumbed down, and then the main character. Oh my god, her actual actor is so fucking fine, so beautiful. I'm like, oh my god, girl, you're my new woman crush. But her character slightly look a bit different from her, but you can still see the looks. But I also just wish that everything would have just been rendered a whole lot better. The voice acting could have been a bit more on point, and the story actually could have been a whole lot better. It could have had the dragged out effect, but it's like with that prologue, everything was so slow, and then like when you go to like one of your safe houses or like you go back to the main city, you move so slow through the city. I'm just like the speed should have been sped up to where you can move, because it was like it's a drag to go back. Like I stopped doing detours within the city just because I got tired of how slow the shit moved. Then like having to follow the cats around. The cats will literally take you all around the goddamn place just to go to an area where you was just by, but you couldn't see the stuff before until you started the whole mission with the cats. So yeah, it was like really no side missions and nothing else without the points of interest or having to go collect the photos for the kids to unlock new filters for your photos and stuff. The only thing that you had to do was just go in, kill, and beat the game. And the boss fight was, it was a decent concept, but I feel like it was too easy. Too easy. But when you unlocked her mom's powers with the teleportation, that actually was cool. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I love that new power up, but I don't think it's enough to make me go back and finish the game for the achievements. I ain't gonna lie to you. I spent so much time in that game and just got like so disappointed. So that's my review of the Forspoken. Didn't think it would be that long, but yeah, man, it was kind of tragic. Kind of tragic. Um, you guys, you could comment in the comments box down below and tell me what you think about it. Yeah, man, Forspoken. Hopefully they get it right with the sequel, man. Hopefully they get it right with the sequel. Hopefully they can really get some people in there and really get some like new ideas in there, some new characters, new voice actors, and of course, just like make sure that the next map includes the map from the first one, but also expand with new realms and new missions and new this and new that and new creatures and new enemy types and stuff, right? Because it's a lot of room for different types of enemies. You know what I'm saying? Like mutated enemies. I'm talking about if you want to go as far as like bears being mutated with deer heads on it and stuff like that, do that. But it's definitely room for improvement. And hopefully with a sequel, man, the story could get deeper and it can go crazy. And it can probably, hopefully, change everybody's, outlook of Forspoken. It's your boy HhurnisWang. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell, get notified every time I upload a brand new video. Your boy is out.